Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Data Analysis with Dr. Veronica. In this video, we would look at how to combine and split column data in Microsoft Excel. Imagine you're sent a spreadsheet with data organized in different columns, and you're required to combine this data into one column. It could be something like first name and last names arranged in different columns, and you have to combine them into one column, or it could be any form of combination at all, right? So we will see in this video how to use FLASHFILL, concatenate function, and the ampersand symbol to combine data in Microsoft Excel. So we have information from a fictitious electric cooker sales database, and we have this information just in front of us, and in column I, J, K, we've been required to do some combination of some column data. And the first one that we have right here is to combine the retailer and the sales method. Okay, so column B is the retailer information and the sales method is in column H. So we also want to combine the information in these two columns using the concatenate function. So how we do this is you put the equal to sign, which is the sign that you have to put when you want to enter any function or formula in Microsoft Excel. So I'm just going to type concatenate. And just to state that I'm using the 2016 version of Microsoft Excel for this particular video. And in later versions, just like Microsoft 365, you're going to see the concatenate function has now been changed to concat. Okay, so just for you to take note. So concatenate, you open the bracket. And for the concatenate function, you have these arguments. The first one is compulsory, which is selecting the text that you want to, of course, combine. And the second one is optional, just in case you want to combine only one column. But of course, when you have to combine, it has to be two or more columns, right? So the first text is the retailer name, just like we have been required to do. And you have to put the comma separator so that you can choose the text 2 that you want to include in the combination. So I'm going to choose the text 2, which is the sales method, and I will close the bracket and hit the enter button on my keyboard. This is the information that I have combined, but we can make this to look even better or more appealing to the eyes, and to make it look like it was two information combined into one by editing the concatenate function to include a delimiter like a semicolon or a hyphen or even a comma. Okay, we can include delimiters like that. What we are basically going to do is, if you want to, of course, include a delimiter between the texts that you want to combine, so you just put the comma and you know that the delimiter will be the second text. So I'm going to include a semicolon in this situation so that it's very clear, because for the sales method that we see right here, we already have the hyphen. So I'm going to put a semicolon. And I will put the quotation marks because the semicolon is regarded as text. And when you put the quotation marks before you put a text in a function, it makes Excel to recognize that text and not give you an error message. So if you notice, I also put a space character before I said a semicolon, so I'm going to change this to a semicolon. Yeah, so I put a space character before the semicolon and after the semicolon before putting the second quotation marks. And I'm going to use the comma separator, and I choose the sales method and close the bracket, and let's see what this looks like. So this is what I have right now, and I'm just going to drag it down. Okay, I'll go over that again. So I take my mouse pointer, I hover it around the intersection between the lower side of the rectangle, and I double click on my mouse to have that format applicable up till the end of my data set, which is in row number 98. Okay, so that was very easy. So we go to the next method, which is using the FLASHFILL feature in Microsoft Excel. We want to combine the state and the region, okay, using FLASHFILL. Now, flash fill is a feature in Microsoft Excel that works by looking at patterns. Okay, so it looks at the pattern you have established, and then it will apply that same pattern to the remaining data in the columns that you had taken the first set of information from. And all you need to do for flash fill is we want to combine the state and the region. So I am going to type out manually what I want my final output to look like and use the flash fill feature to replicate this same pattern for the remaining data set. So the state, Adamawa, and the region. So for here, I am going to use the hyphen separator, and I am going to type here Northeast. And I will, so this is exactly the output that I want to see. Okay. And to use the flash fill feature, of course, you can see, you can use a shortcut key, which is Control E. You can also see the flash fill feature on the home tab in the editing group. And when you click here, you're going to see one of the options, flash fill. The third way to see the flash fill feature is to go to the data tab, and in the data tools group, you will see the flash fill feature right here. So I am going to use the flash fill feature that is on the data tab and in the data tools group. Okay, and the first thing I will do is to select, of course, the cell that contains the pattern that I want to see replicated. And I am just going to click here on flash fill. So we can see that the next two cells have the same pattern that we want to see, but of course from cell number 4 in column J, it is showing flash fill. So what I'm going to do now is type out Adamawa Northeast, and you can see that it is even bringing it is already making the suggestion for me, and I click the enter button on my keyboard and I have all the information. I have it automatically filled up in all the cells that is relevant. Okay, up to row number 98. This is so easy peasy. So we go to the next example, or we go to the next method of combining data in column data in Microsoft Excel, and we are going to use the ampersand sign. Okay, so the ampersand sign looks like this. I'm just going to include this right here. This is what the ampersand sign looks like on your keyboard. So of course you can use the ampersand sign to combine data in Microsoft Excel in different columns. Okay, so for this example, we've been using 2 columns, but of course you can combine data for 3 different columns, right? And here I'm going to combine, let's say, invoice date and product, and let me also add and the state, so that we can see that we can combine data for 3 different columns and more. So it can be more than 2 columns, of course. And here I'm just wrapping the text so that it's very visible. Yeah. So I'll use the ampersand sign, and to use the ampersand sign, it's easy. So just to remember that is the invoice date and the product and the state. To use the ampersand sign, what we need to do is you put the equal to, which is what you have to put every time you want to impute a function or a formula in Excel. The first column we want to combine is the invoice date, and I put the ampersand sign. And of course, I want us to have space, and the delimiter will be a hyphen. And I put these in quotation marks so that Microsoft Excel can recognize this and not return an error for me. And I am going to put the ampersand sign again and select the second column that I want to merge or combine. And I use the ampersand sign because we want to combine a third column. So I put the ampersand sign and I put the hyphen delimiter again. And of course, you can use a full stop, which is called period. We can also use the comma delimiter. Okay, so we are not restricted to using hyphens or semicolons, but I just like to use hyphen. and this, and we select the third, which is the state. So I'm going to select the third one. Okay, I put the ampersand sign here, and I select the third column which I want to combine, and I hit the enter button on my keyboard, and this is the output that I have. So I'm just going to double click while my mouse turns out to be this turns out to show me this very bold sign. I'm going to double click on that to have that applicable to all the relevant cells. Now you might ask why the date is not showing up. You can see the invoice date is not showing up as here, and this is because this cell, okay, is formatted as general. It's not formatted as a date, and this is why the invoice date is showing up as a number string instead of showing up in the date format. So next, we are going to look at how to split column data using two different methods. First, we would look at how to use text to columns feature in Excel to split column data, and we are also going to look at how to use FLASHFILL to split column data. Of course, we looked at how to use FLASHFILL to combine, so we can also use the FLASHFILL function or the FLASHFILL feature to split column data. We have information from a fictitious electric cooker sales database, and in column B and column C we can see some merged data that we will try to split in this example. So the first method is using text to columns feature in Microsoft Excel. And to use the text to column feature, the first thing we need to do is we need to insert another column where we want the other part of the split data to be represented. So I have just inserted another column, and then another step is to look for the text to column feature. So of course, the default tab that shows up is the home tab, but the text to column feature is in the data tab, and you go to the data tools group. Okay, inside the data tools group, you see this icon right here that says text to columns, which is used to split a single column of text into multiple columns. So these can be applicable for more than 2 columns, right? So first of all, you have to also note that you need to select the data, the combined data that you want to split. Very important. You have to select this, and I'll go over the process of selection. So if you want to select a long range of data automatically, so you make sure you select the first one, you hold down the Shift and Control button on your keyboard, and then you press the downward button on your keyboard. This is how to select all the information in a column in Microsoft Excel under a few seconds. So after selecting the information, you click on the text to columns feature in the data tools group on the data tab. And just like we can see right here, the convert text to columns wizard is up, and the original data type. So it says choose the file type that best describes your data. And Microsoft Excel has automatically chosen for me delimited, okay, because Excel has recognized that in the selected range of data, I have a delimiter, okay, which is a hyphen. So a delimiter could be a comma, and we are going to see. So you can also have data that has a fixed width. So a fixed width is if you have information in the column that they are all maybe 20 characters each, and what you want to separate is the first 5 characters. That is a fixed width. But in this case, the information in column B is not a fixed width, because we can see that data of varying character numbers in the column. So this is why delimited is selected for us. And I'm just going to click on next to proceed to the next step. And we can see the list of delimiters right here. So first, you can have a tab as a delimiter. You can have a semicolon. Okay. You can also have a comma as a delimiter. you can have a space as a delimiter. So whichever delimiter that separates the data that you have, just select that delimiter right here. And in the data preview section right here, you're going to have an overview of how the final output will look like. So if I choose a semicolon, you can see that nothing has changed because I do not have a semicolon as a delimiter. So if I choose the comma, you see that nothing has changed as well in the data preview section because I do not have a comma delimiter. Now I'm going to choose space. We can see when we choose space, you can see that the retailer name is in a separate column, the hyphen will be in another column, and of course the invoice date will be in a separate column. Okay, this is because it is working with the space as the delimiter. But in this case, I want to use others, and in my example, it is the hyphen that is the delimiter. So I'm just going to put hyphen in this small box right here. And we can see in the data preview how the final data would look like. I click on next to go to the next step. And here it shows you an option to select the format that you want your final information to be represented in. So the first column, which is going to be the retailer name, here we have Enos and we have Ebino, we have Leventisa, right? We, of course, want this first column for the retailer names to be shown in the general format because it is text anyways. But in the second column, which is going to have the invoice date, we do not want this to show up in the general format. We want it to show up in the date format because this is what it is. It is a date. But in column B, it is not showing up as a date, okay, because it is in the general format. So it is showing up as number strings, right? So for this second column, I've selected it to show up as a date. And of course, you can also choose how you want your date to show up. So right here, the default setting is for my date to come up as a month, before the day, and before the year. You can click on this drop down and select that your date should show up as a day first, before the month, and before the year. Or you can choose for the date to be represented as a year first, before the month and the day. I mean, you can choose whichever suits your fancy. And then I'm going to click on the Finish tab right here to see what my final output will look like. So this is what I have using the text to columns feature to split this retailer and invoice date that was formerly combined into different columns. And here I'm going to put the header, which is the invoice date, and I will edit this one to show only the retailer name. Okay, so we have successfully split the previous information that we have. And if you select any of the cells, either in the retailer name or the invoice date, you're not going to see any formula in the formula bar, okay, because the text to columns feature is not necessarily a formula. So we go to the next example, which is how to use FLASHFILL to split column data. So of course, I'm going to insert another column, okay, because we want to use FLASHFILL to split the column data. And in this case, I will insert 2 columns, right? So here I'm going to put the state, and here I'll put the region. So the state in this case is Adamawa, okay? And I'm going to use the FLASHFILL feature. In this case, I'm not going to use the FLASHFILL feature that is in the Data Tools tab, or the Data Tools group of the Data tab. I will go to the FLASHFILL that is in the Editing group of the Home tab. And right here that says Fill, I click on this drop down to select FLASHFILL. And this is what I have. The name of the state has just been separated, okay, has been split from column D because Excel has recognized a pattern. So I will do the same for the region. So I type what I want to see right here, Northeast, and I am going to use the shortcut key for FLASHFILL, which is Control E. So I select the first cell that has the pattern that I want to see, and I just do Control E on my keyboard, and I have this nicely populated up to row number 98. Okay, so this is how to use the flash fill feature to split column data. I have a comprehensive video on how to use flash fill to combine information and also to split information, and the link to that video is in the description box. If you want to see a tutorial that explains how to use flash fill in detail, please do well to click that link to watch that video. And if you're a first time viewer on my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button so that YouTube will pop up the video when people look for how to merge and split column data in Microsoft Excel. And of course, hit the notification bell so that you will be notified whenever awesome contents are uploaded on this YouTube channel. And please drop a comment in the comment section. Tell me how you feel about this video and tell me what other videos in Microsoft Excel you would like me to do. So in this tutorial, we were able to see how to combine or merge and split column data using flash fill feature, the concatenate function, the text to column feature, in Microsoft Excel. And of course, I wrote the flash fill again because just to show that we can use this for merging and splitting column data at the same time. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and see you in another video.